Hi everybody, welcome back. Today we are going to see the moon like nobody's ever seen it before. Uh, there's a gentleman by the name of Ben Pellom who has been talking to me off and on over the last year or so. And finally he got my attention to go take a look at his website. And I got to tell you, my teeth just about fell out when I saw the pictures that he had there. I couldn't believe it. And these are pictures like I've never seen before. I didn't know anything like this could even have existed. And fortunately, Ben was very generous about this, and he wants people to see this. He wants to see how people. He wants to show you how you can find this yourself. It's very, very simple, and it's called the Worldwide Telescope. This is still the first page of his website, and he has instructions here that'll take you to the Worldwide Telescope. And this is it right here. This is the key, you guys. I've never even seen this before. And anyway, once you exit out of this first screen where they're actually asking for a little donation, down in the bottom left-hand corner is a drop box with a menu. And you click on that and then click on Planet. And then right next to that is another drop box, and when that one comes up, you click on Moon. And you are on your way. Now, one of the things that you'll need to use is in your Windows operating system, there you have image processing software right there. You just double click on one of your pictures, whether it's in screenshots or documents, and then up at the top you can edit it, and you're up and rolling. You will need that. Now, Ben figured out a way to see this stuff, and I don't know how he did it or what compelled him to, but right now we're looking at the southern pole of the moon. And Ben was looking in these very, very, very black areas. I mean, who would look there of all the places? That doesn't seem likely. But first of all, he warned me of all the obfuscation. There's all sorts of it in here. And the main obfuscation is this very, very dark looking craters. So he just suggested that all you have to do is just zoom in. This is like using Google Earth, right? And you just zoom in, zoom, 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 and you will eventually get through that black fog that's been painted over there. And this here is some examples of what you will see. Now, at first, this is too busy, and you need to take a little time. But this is common. It's everywhere, you guys. It's easy to find. It really is. Just all you have to do is use that telescope, zoom in on the dark areas, take a screenshot, and then use that software in your Windows that will help you to lighten it up, because it's still going to be very, very dark. But can you believe that? Now, this is what Ben calls a industrial area, and it does look very, very industrial. Now, there's something that he calls alleyways, and this is a couple pictures of these close-ups of these alleyways. Now, this is such incredible construction. I mean, look at the design of that. Now, this is just one section of an alleyway, and we're going to talk a little bit later about about these alleyways and what they actually are. But if you look down in the front of this picture, there's so many buildings, and these are the same kinds of buildings that we're used to seeing in these different areas in the solar system. But in these pictures, like right here, you have these very, very large buildings that look like, warehouse type buildings. It does give you the impression that this is a industrial area. And I don't think I'm doing Ben a lot of justice by enlarging these pictures. I mean, we're losing some of the clarity, but there's an amazing amount of clarity that we've never seen before, really. in pictures of different places in the solar system. This is really, really incredible pictures with some completely different kinds of construction, along with the usual kinds of construction, the type that we're all familiar with seeing. And here we go again with a couple more pictures of this alleyway. The one down below shows you the darkness of it. And then there's kind of a cityscape that goes up behind it and in front of it. I mean, it's hard to believe that this is on the moon and nobody's seen this before. And I guess nobody dreamed of zooming in on blackness. Now, that's what it comes down to. So in here we have another section of this alleyway that Ben calls it. That's very, very strange, and I would like to say that that it is an alleyway. I don't think that it is. It's different throughout. There's actually quite a few pictures of it, an amazing number of them, and what's actually there is, once again, it's mind-boggling, right? Here we have a whole bunch of very large clusters of what appear to be warehouse-type buildings, I think. And I think in every picture you can see a layout, as in like streets or blocks, or how it's lined up. I think you can see that. And there's something about these pictures that kind of bothered me a little bit. I mean, they are extremely unusual, but it's something about the layout. And I'll show you what I'm talking about coming up. Now, here's a couple more pictures of this alleyway. And to me, when I see this alleyway, I see structures, dark structures and light structures, all in a line. And they're all different, and they could be facing longitudinally or more of a up and down. They're just a very strange combination that creates these lines. Now, when I looked at this picture right here, I thought there's something about it was kind of, I don't know. I saw it in a different light. And so what I did is I cut a piece out of it, like this right here. Give yourself a second to take a look at it and try to orient yourself a little bit. And then I took this piece right here and I tilted it and I put it on its side. And when I did that, suddenly these warehouse type buildings that are laying on their sides suddenly look like tall skyscrapers. Don't they? I mean, they really, really do. Here we go back to them laying down. I think ultimately, though, as compelling as that is, I think they're really just still laying on the side. I think they are warehouse-type buildings, and it's just a visual thing. But it's really quite unusual that they really can be seen in both ways. And that in itself, I think, is very, very unusual. Here's another picture, similar. It looks like you're looking at the tops of buildings down there, and that right in from the 3-4 o'clock position. But instead, they're actually the ends of the buildings, not the tops. Isn't that something? Really, really weird. So, as I said, there's been a lot of obfuscation. We don't know, if it's, we'll just call it the powers that be, why they would allow something like this to be available for the general public. I mean, it sort of concerns me, to tell you the truth, that if what happens with this video that I hope happens, that people get this out. I hope this worldwide telescope thing doesn't disappear. because it wouldn't surprise me. Now I'm not. I'm pointing. Actually, I'm pointing at that little triangular area in the middle there, and that's all part of the obfuscation. It's it's not really there. They have chunks of land that they've moved in and shadow and so on and so forth. But it is an area that we can use as a reference point. But right above that thing is a black line. You see that? And this is one of those alleyways that Ben is talking about. And it's a fairly good-sized piece. Now, I have to tell you something. If you get on the World Wide Web and zoom in and start finding these lines, you'll find that there are, starting on both the South and the North Pole, concentric circular lines. It starts with a smaller one and gets out farther and farther and farther out. So I counted, pardon me, I forgot the number, but it was 12 or 14 lines that got larger and larger the farther out from the pole that they got. So what the heck? Now right there, okay, so there's a straight line of blackness right here. Do you see that? It comes from the 6 o'clock position. And it's part of that obfuscation. That's where either they put shade in that or they put a piece of land over the shade, or both. I would say probably both. It's really, really obvious in this picture. And there are numerous lines that we're talking about. Here's one right here. This is below the first one that we were looking at. And I've become very suspicious of much of what is in these white areas that we can't really see. I did some gymnastics on that stuff, and I think there's more there than meets the eye as usual, right? Haven't figured out how to bring it out yet. Here we go. Now this is what you see once you dig down through that black fog. It comes to that, but once you use the windows to change the picture, this is what you'll get. I mean, it might take you a couple tries, and you'll have to learn how to do that. But now these buildings, it looks like there are some tall buildings in here, and it's oriented a little bit differently. Okay, it's not straight up and down. And I think what happens is when you rotate this globe, it sort of shifts the orientation of what's on the surface a little bit. It's still there, but it might change the direction it's leaning. You know what I mean? And so you can see lines going up and down and sideways like city blocks, actually. And the tall structures, there's some tall black ones right in the middle there that are sort of leaning up to the upper left corner. So I could have tilted this picture, and probably would have made more sense to look at. Here again is another section of the line, and I just can't make sense out of it. I mean, it's made out of buildings most of the time, I guess. Some of those things are hard to identify. Now, just right of center there is like a little half moon, looks sort of like a crater-ish, with something down in the bottom of it, kind of a squiggly little looking hole. It doesn't really qualify as a crater. I don't know, what would cause a shape like that. And that's what first caught my attention to come into this area. Now, I have to tell you, if you get on the Worldwide Telescope, and you can virtually pick any black area and zoom in on it, and you're going to find this stuff. It's covered with it. And I'm telling you, you need to go in and find it. This isn't even the tip of the iceberg. It's not like that one rover from China. What was that, Chang or something, where maybe they found one building. Man, this is the real deal. This is the big deal. This is everything. This is hundreds of thousands of structures and more. And I don't even know. Ben, this is everything I'm showing you is on the South Pole. Ben says the North Pole is where you start finding more futuristic buildings. Okay? So guess where we're going to go next time? We're going to go to the North Pole, and we're going to see if we can find some of these futuristic buildings. I can hardly wait. I'm tired of the same old little rectangular shoebox-shaped buildings. I mean, they are amazing just because they're there, but after you see your first several million of them, they all start looking the same, right? And really, that's what we have here is the same thing here. It's just how they arrange them. And this is entirely different from other places that we've seen in the solar system. Entirely different. There are similarities, like I said, the buildings themselves, but the way they arrange them is it's different, and it's, you know, it's hard to know what the hell that's all about. Of course, there's no way for us to know. And of course, when you begin to see how much of this there is on the moon, and you can do it yourself easily, and I'm not going to stop saying that. What was the point of that? It's just amazing how much there is. And it's also amazing that we haven't been able to see any of it until now, thanks to Ben. What can I say? If it weren't for him, we just wouldn't be seeing this, right? Maybe somebody else would have come along. You know, Ben's up in years, and it is his mission. And by the way, I also want to say that Ben says that it wasn't just him that found this, it was God. And God directed him to find this. And he believes that the Lord wants Ben to get this out there for people to see. And so that's what he's doing, and I'm going to try and help him too. Here we have lots of structures, just lots and lots and lots of them. They're hard to see. It's all one color. You know, every picture is its own individual. You know, sometimes when you get through the black fog, you have really great definition. Sometimes you don't. You know, sometimes everything is monochromatic and hard to see. But it's still worth looking at. And here we have the dark line again, and it looks like there's some larger structures with long black windows, you know, associated with that dark line going across. And that's just a regular cityscape going up there. There's just lots and lots of these buildings. And up towards the top, down from the middle, there's one that sticks out. It's just down from the top, right in the middle, just standing up there. Kind of interesting. And one thing I have not addressed at all is the black holes that we see. We see this, I think, pretty much on every building. I think these are openings, and you can only guess what those openings would be for. Now we're going to move over to this crater, for lack of another term, just to the left here. And so this was an experiment for me. I thought, okay, well, here's some darkness. Let me zoom in on this. Let's see what we see here. And you know, and so, yeah, there was definitely something to see here. It's another cityscape. And actually, this crater turned out to be quite a bit larger than I expected it to be. I thought it was considerably smaller, and based on what we've been seeing lately in the videos, you know, craters, I don't know, you know, craters aren't craters. You just have to, if you don't understand that statement, just go back and look at some of these videos. I think we've proven on many occasions that craters are not craters. This is what myself and many others have been saying, and now we have pictures. So when we look at this like this, it looks like your regular standard warehouse buildings, but when you tilt it up, we have a cityscape here. And you can see an orientation of the direction that it comes from the top right, slanting down to the bottom left. And all of these tall buildings here, most all of them are cylindrical. We've seen cylindrical buildings on Mars in previous videos. And it's the way they shine right in the middle. I'm quite sure that these are cylindrical. I went back to bring up my Mars picture, and I can't find it. I don't know. I'm missing a whole bunch. I don't know what's happened anyway. But yeah, these are definitely cylindrical buildings mixed in with all kinds of others. It's just another place on the moon. One of many, many, many that I hope people are going to be using this tool. Please send this video to TechnoThanks or any of the other guys. They need to get this tool and use it and start seeing what we're really talking about in the solar system, and in particular right here on the moon. Look at that. Is that not incredible? And this area along the outside edges, I told you before, this white area is really suspicious. When you try and tone it down a little bit, you get a pattern that comes out from underneath that whiteness. So that tells me that this type of thing isn't all just in the darkness, it's also in the brightness. And that bright is really, really hard to bring down. So the point of it is that there's much, much, much more there than we can see. Fortunately, we're able to get in there in this dark area and bring some of that out. And it's amazing how they slice and dice these pictures and put them all together. Here's another one of those concentric lines that come out, start with a small one in the center of the pole, and then one line after the other, one circle after the other. There's a small circle, larger, 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 all the way up to at least 12 or 14, at least. And this kind of reminds me of looking at some of those pictures of Venus and other places where you see that texture, and the texture is never from the picture, it's what's in the picture. And here again we have a tremendous number of structures, also part of the line. But it's really fun if you take the time to sit and move in on what you're seeing right here and let your eyes crawl around in there. It's just all these different buildings, and there are some similarities of some of the things that we've seen in other places where they build the stair-step buildings, you know what I mean, that go up and create these that look of stair steps. And there's a lot of openings in all of these buildings on the moon. They seem to have more of these openings in other places. Of course, I don't know why. And I think these are openings for vessels to go in and out of. That's the garage. Bruce sees all. I mean, he's shown us a gazillion UFOs on the moon. I mean, they're so common in his videos. It's like watching buildings in my videos, right? They're just part of the landscape. There's so many of them. So what else would those openings be? I mean, there could be windows, but when you have a big tall building with no apparent windows and then a great big oval opening at the top, boy, I don't think that's a window. I think it's something to go in and out of. But who knows? Maybe that's for a video down the road. So here is Ben, and it's the name of his website is the Pellom Planetary Research. Disclosure for Public Awareness. And I will be putting a link of his website in the description, and also for his YouTube channel. He also has a YouTube channel that you should go visit. He's got some really great stuff in there, and some links to some other people from YouTube that have that have some really great stuff. And so I recommend you go to his website and also to his YouTube channel and subscribe. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll be coming back to the moon next time around. See ya.